months to take emissions from accelerating to emissions coming down. That's what the science is saying. So we are here not only as part of the global climate hunger strike, but also part of the UK election rebellion. So we're in rebellion against this election and the whole political system which has got us to this terrible, terrible situation. It's the political system that has known the science for 50 years and continued to fail to do the changes that are necessary. So we have the solution now before us. We've got a climate and ecological emergency bill. It's been written, it's ready to go. We just need every candidate and every party to sign up to that bill. So we're here also in the UK on hunger strike outside every party office asking for a meeting with them to talk about their support for the bill. And it's been really, really successful. We've got 4 meetings set up with 4 parties in 4 days. All we need now... But this is my plea to you, is that the people doing this work, sitting in the cold every day, organising and giving out the leaflets, are those of us on hunger strike. This is day 5. Our energy levels are low. We need support. We need help. We need every help we can get. If a third of you here were here with us every day, we would get those last 2 meetings, because with just the number of us that we've got the first 4. So anyone here, please help us in any way you can. Please, you can come and help us give out the leaflets, you can come and help us put up the banners. Every day we're having to pack these banners down and carry them home. When your energy levels are as low as ours, that alone is really hard work. I literally couldn't wear the clothes I was going to wear today because they were too heavy to get out the door with. So any help you can give, please come down to these sites. Hopefully over the weekend we'll get more people down, we'll get kids down. But the pressure is working, and a few more people to join us will build that pressure even more. And the other thing we need around the country, so that's in London, we're outside every head party office, come and join us. And then around the country we've got hunger strikers, so the call out there is for anyone around the country to link up with the local hunger strikers, help them, make them visible. It's really hard being on hunger strike, so they need support, they need help to get out there so that people know they're on hunger strike. Get into the constituency offices, occupy them, even if it's just for an hour. Go in and have a chat, occupy them for a day, whatever you can do. Build the pressure on all the parties. This is the time. Even though the Lib Dems have agreed that we've met with, for example, with the Lib Dems where we are now, to her great credit, Sal Brinton came down and met with us the other day. We had a great chat, and she agreed personally to commit to the Citizens' Assembly on the climate and ecological emergency that they propose in their manifesto, that it will have mandatory power. And that is a massive win. And she also committed to setting up a meeting with Ed Davey, the deputy leader. And so we're still here outside, and I'm still on hunger strike until we get that meeting with Ed Davey, and hopefully with a policy manager, so we can talk about their support for the bill. And so it's really working. We just need your support. So come on, let's build that pressure. Literally another week of this, and we'll be there. Thank you.
We love you!
Let's hear it for the hunger strikers! Hey! Next stop, Parliament!
Hello, Rebs. Oh my goodness, my phone's gone a bit ski-whiffed. If you're just joining us, we are outside the Lib Dems headquarters, 8 to 10, Great George Street in central London, Westminster, just near Parliament Square, where the scientists of XR have just joined to show support for the people, the rebels who are on hunger strike at the moment, protesting at the government's inaction against on the climate and ecological emergency. So here are our hunger striking rebels. They are outside the Labour Party campaign HQ here in London. They are on day 5 of their hunger strike. Why are they hunger striking? I hear you cry. It's the last resort to get the government to act now. There has been a bill drafted up by Extinction Rebellion called the 3 Demands Bill, which addresses the climate and ecological crisis. One is to tell the truth, and that includes governments making a concerted effort in the kind of the scale of a world war effort to utilise media channels, any kind of messaging strategy to tell the truth about the current state of the climate crisis. Two is to act now, and that is to put into policy to make it law that we get carbon neutral by 2025. And three, to set up a citizens' assembly, as you can see here. And we've got the Scientists for XR here outside, who are marching through central London in solidarity with the hunger strikers to support the 3 Demands Bill, and visiting various government departments to send the message to the government to tell the truth about the climate and ecological crisis. Thank you for all your support, and thank you for joining us, thank you for watching this. There's Larch, who just gave the speech. He's on day 5 of his hunger strike. Still smiling, Larch. It's good to see.
I was not smiling this morning, I promise you. The first 2 to 3 hours are really hard for all of us at the moment.
Yeah. So it's really important that we get more rebels to come and support.
Yes, please. Yes, you've got that message. That's great. That warms my heart. Thank you. Yeah.
So we're here. This is Facebook Live. Let's get more people. If you're watching this in London, please come and support all the rebels on hunger strike outside Labour Party campaign headquarters on Great George Street. They're outside
this is
Lib Dems. Sorry, my mistake. Lib Dems. Labour Party HQ on Victoria Street, and Conservative Party
Matthew Parker Street.
Thank you very much.
And also Brexit on Horseferry Road.
Okay.
Brexit Party have an undercover office, which the building manager yesterday, after we'd occupied it for an hour and a half, and heard them ringing the phone saying, "Yeah, Brexit Party, how can I help?" He said, "No, the Brexit Party is not in this building because they're undercover. They've gone in there like with some other name." And so today I saw Nigel Farage, got to speak to him very briefly. He pretty much offered him the letter that we've been trying to give him for over a week.
And what did he say?
He just ignored it. He didn't say a thing. He saw me, heard, and just dived in his car and sped off.
Fairly surprising.
But the people that were there as part of the Brexit Party were the same people that were in this building yesterday, which apparently isn't the Brexit Party office, which clearly it is. But what's going on there? Why are they so secretive? Get down there and ask them. And
yes, please. Thank you, Larch. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Come and show your support like the scientists have for all the hunger strikers who are striking to get the government to pay attention and to support the 3 Demands Bill. Sorry for the wobble at the moment, having a few technical issues. I think where are they going next? Parliament Square, is it? Okay. Wait. No, that's not far. They're heading to Parliament Square. Save your battery for Trafalgar Square. That's got to get done. Hello, rebels and people of the world. We're here with the Scientists for XR, who are marching on the streets of London, visiting various government departments to get the government to act now and tell the truth about the climate and ecological crisis. These are scientists who know what they're talking about. They studied this stuff. Why are they doing it now? I'll tell you why. There are 1,600 scientists who have now signed up to the Scientific Declaration of Rebellion. 1,600 worldwide who have agreed to rebel against government inaction on the climate and ecological crisis. These Scientists here in lab coats are representing those 1,600 scientists who have signed the Declaration of Rebellion. We are now in Parliament Square in London. If you wish to come and join us, there's even dogs. Nice to see scientists engaging with members of the public and telling them the truth about the climate and ecological crisis that we are currently facing. Why are the scientists choosing to do this now? Well, the government has not decided to act adequately or tell the truth about the climate and ecological crisis. According to the science and the facts and figures, even if we reach the government's current target of reaching carbon net zero by 2050, that only gives us a 50% chance of keeping global average temperatures below 1.5 degrees raised, which was set out in the Paris Agreement. Beyond that threshold, it's very likely that the planet will fall into complete climate meltdown. The planet will be fine, let's be clear, but we will not. The human race will face much misery, death, and possibly extinction if we do not do something to act now against the damage that we are causing to the environment.
So 1,600 scientists have decided that the climate and ecological crisis is now so serious that it's morally justified to do civil disobedience, to get out and block roads, and in order to try and get governments to take some kind of action, because the science has been so clear for 30 years, and in that time greenhouse gas emissions have increased. Now we're seeing the results, right? Yeah, we get it.
It's great to see the scientists talking to people in the public and actually giving them facts and figures and advice about the climate and ecological crisis. These are scientists who've been studying this, researching. They have degrees.
We are scientists for Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah!
We are here to demand, ahead of the next general election, that the government puts the climate and ecological emergency top of the political agenda. Every one of us here, wearing a white coat, represents 25 scientists across the globe who have signed our scientific declaration in support of non-violent direct action against government inaction over the climate and ecological emergency. And we are here to ask that the government listens to the science, that they listen to the 1,600 scientists across the globe who are supporting peaceful, non-violent protests, because we've tried everything else. We've been raising the alarm for 40 years, and we have not been listened to. We're also here representing 11,000 scientists who've endorsed a report to say that the climate and ecological crisis is clear and unequivocal. And if we don't take radical action now, it will lead to incalculable suffering and loss of life. We demand that all political parties listen to the science and that this election is first and foremost about this emergency. Leave or remain. This will affect every one of us. It will affect the lives of our children and our grandchildren. This is the greatest threat that humanity has ever faced. And we are not acting in alignment with the truth or in anywhere close to the proportion, to the extent that is required to address this crisis. So we're here to ask the government to tell the truth, to ask them to commit to carbon zero by 2025. 2050 is no way close enough, no way near enough to be able to prevent the catastrophic and irreversible changes to our planet that scientists now say are clear and unequivocal. And we're also here to demand that the government calls upon a citizens' assembly to let everyday people decide how we're going to act to move forward on this crisis. Extreme weather is already impacting millions of people across the globe. Combined with rising sea levels due to a warming planet because of human action, it's predicted that 300 million people across the globe will be living in areas by the middle of this century that are flooded at least once a year. The flood of a century will now become a yearly event. Extreme weather events are also making our food supplies incredibly vulnerable. By the year 2040, it's predicted that the chance of an extreme event like flooding or drought or typhoons hitting more than one crucial area for food production at the same time will triple by the year 2040. We import 40 to 50% of our food here in the UK, 70 to 80% of our fruit and vegetables. We're already seeing food prices rising because of flooding in the north of England. And if food crops are impacted increasingly, as they will be across other more vulnerable parts of the globe, we will feel that knock-on effect here in the UK. Prices will rise. It's possible that there may be poorer areas of the UK who cannot afford to feed their children. By 2050, due to a combination of climate change and land degradation, it's predicted that we're going to see a 10% reduction in our ability to grow our food crops and up to 50% in certain areas of the world. We've already lost 50% of our topsoil across the globe, and we need this in order to grow the very food that sustains us. And we're also in an ecological crisis, where we're losing up to 1 million species are expected to become extinct in the next few decades. And this is not just a tragedy of the beauties of nature. These are the creatures we rely upon to feed ourselves and for shelter. The UK is one of the worst hit because of this. Just a few years ago, it was reported that 1 in 5 British mammals are at risk of extinction. Just a few years later, it's now 1 in 4. This threat to our biodiversity is going to impact us because a huge proportion of what we're losing are our insects. And it's our insects that we rely on to pollinate our crops that we need in order to eat. Without the insects, these crops will not survive. Without the crops, we will not be able to feed ourselves. If we're not able to feed ourselves, we risk civil unrest, riots. We're already predicted to be heading towards financial instability. And the Governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, says that by the time we get there, it will probably be too late to do anything about it. But right now, it's not too late. But we have to take this seriously, and we have to act. Under the Paris Agreement, we've committed to stay below 1.5 degrees warming. Anything more than that could be catastrophic to our planet. But right now we are nowhere close to being on target to getting down to 1.5 degrees. We've been told we have to commit to being carbon zero by 2050. But that will only give us a 50-50 chance of staying beneath 1.5 degrees. That's what's not spoken about. That's like playing Russian roulette with 3 bullets in the barrel. Even if we get to carbon zero by 2050, there's only a 50% chance of it being okay. And the point is, we're nowhere close to getting there. We're already missing all of our targets. Maybe not all of them, but certainly most of them. The Committee for Climate Change has gone into the government and said that structural systemic change is needed across all government's departments. In July, they went in and looked at what's being done to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And of 24 targets that are in place, only 7 were being addressed. The government is paying lip service to the fact that it's taking this seriously. And climate scientists across the globe are saying that we now have a moral duty to come out onto the streets and take action because we are not being listened to. So we urge you, whatever your political leanings, whatever your feelings about Europe, whatever your feelings about any other political or government policies, that first and foremost on the political agenda must be this climate and ecological emergency, because this will affect every last one of us. So we urge you to listen to the science, to tell the truth, to let the public know, because if they knew what we know as scientists, they, like us, would barely be able to get a good night's sleep. And they, like us, would be forced to be out in the streets protesting so that something is done. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you very much. So next stop, Downing Street.
Hey, rebels! If you're just joining us, we are in Parliament Square with the scientists for XR. Over 100 scientists have donned their lab coats and are taken to the street to represent the over 1,600 scientists who have signed the Scientific Declaration of Rebellion against governments across the world for their inaction against the climate change. Scientists now feel that they are morally justified in taking to the street and engaging in non-violent direct action to disrupt the systems and to get the governments to actually pay attention and take action. The UK target of 2050 to go net zero in carbon emissions is too late, and according to the science and the facts and the figures, it only gives us a 50% chance of keeping it to the Paris Agreement's recommended 1.5 degrees cap on global average temperature rises. If we go beyond that, we're all totally and utterly screwed. So, let's not go beyond that. Let's listen to the bloody scientists, because they know what they're talking about. Let's tell the truth and let's act now. Already we are seeing the effects of the climate crisis all over the world, especially in the global south, where millions are going hungry every day due to food shortages. This is why we've had hunger strikers from XR across the country, outside all the major political parties' campaign headquarters in London this week. This is due to food shortages because of crop failure that are caused by flooding, by water scarcity. All of these are results of the increase in global temperature that is caused by human activity pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Of course, this is not just an issue of the global south. Like the UK, although not feeling massive effects from the climate crisis at the moment, will be feeling it very soon unless we act now. We've already seen massive increase in flooding, the recent floodings in Yorkshire, where people's homes are being destroyed. Water scarcity is a big problem. The government do not tell you this, but the environmental agency says unless action is taken now, we could see water scarcity, water being turned off on the whole of the southeast of England in 25 years. Water scarcity is caused by rising sea levels, loss of land. I love these scientists handing out leaflets on the street to tell members of the public what is going on. There it is, we must act now. We are facing a man-made disaster on a global scale. It's a very simple message. This is the first time in history where we've seen global temperatures rise at such a rate that it could cause a mass extinction event. Mass extinction events have taken place in the past, but they've been very localised and caused by natural disasters. This is the first time where human activity is directly exacerbating and leading to the potential of a global mass extinction. That's an extinction of species of animals, which is already happening. Millions already at risk.
They are quite well informed.
Well informed. And the extinction of the human race. People still don't want to hear. They don't want to hear the truth. If people knew the truth about what was happening to the world at the moment, the whole truth, if the government were telling the truth, if it was on every media outlet, if they knew the fates of which they could be facing in the coming years, if action is not taken, they would want to listen. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for joining us with the XR Scientist. Currently walking past Downing Street, heading towards Trafalgar Square. If you want to come and learn the truth about the science behind the global climate and ecological crisis that we are currently facing, make your way down to Trafalgar Square, where there will be a series of mini talks, seminars, high-profile scientists who know their stuff. I'll be signing off very soon again. Battery is running low. But please come and join us. If you are in London, please come and show your support to the scientists. Come and learn the truth about the climate and ecological crisis. There's Downing Street. We're currently just outside Downing Street on Whitehall. Signing off for now. Love, peace, respect, science, and race. Love you, bye.